A scream shatters the silence, bouncing off the cobblestones. That's what it's all leading up to, right? 5 Weatherfield locals, every one of them with a bullseye on their back. And by the end of next week, someone isn't walking away. Maybe Carl finally runs out of luck with all his schemes. Maybe Theo's crossed the wrong line. Or it's Megan, Maggie, or Jody. One of them could easily pay for the secrets they're hiding. Everyone's been itching for this murder mystery to explode. And honestly, the suspense is so heavy you could choke on it. Still, even with all this tension and darkness, there's a glimmer of hope. A wedding, determined to go ahead no matter what. So let's head to the Cobbles. The week of April 20th is about to shake things up. Spoiler 1, Carl's dangerous game. We start with Carl, who is acting entirely too clever for his own good. He clocks Theo trying to wind Gary up, but Gary, thankfully showing some restraint for once, refuses to bite. Carl, always looking for an angle, decides to step in and goad Theo himself. His grand plan, to wind the sly scaffolder up so much that he lashes out, hoping to get him nicked for assault. I reckon Carl is playing with absolute fire here. He thinks he's the smartest bloke in the room, but backing a desperate man into a corner rarely ends well. Spoiler 2, a new low for Theo. And speaking of Theo, his behavior takes a downright sickening turn. He corners Summer in the shop and actually starts throwing Billy's death in her face. He cruelly claims that Billy was begging him to save his life during the crash. Using a man's tragic final moments as a weapon against a grieving girl, that is utterly vile. The comments I've seen from you lot about Theo lately show just how much he's hated, and this is only going to cement it. Poor Summer is going to be absolutely crushed. Spoiler 3, George steps up. Thankfully, Summer isn't left to deal with this alone. She tells George what happened, and we get to see that fiercely protective side of him. Backed up by Gary, George corners Theo and gives him a massive warning. Stay away from Summer and Todd, or else. I loved seeing this. George isn't usually the physical enforcer type, but he draws a hard line when it comes to family. It makes you wonder, though, if Theo ends up dead. Could George actually be pushed into doing the unthinkable? By the way, if you love seeing the Weatherfield locals stand up to the bullies as much as I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and it means we can keep chatting about our favorite street every single week. Right back to the drama. Spoiler 4, a humiliating reunion. Theo's life is completely falling apart. He's sleeping rough in his van, completely cast out from the community. Things get even worse when his son, Miles, turns up out of the blue and sees the absolute state of him. Theo is pathetic, begging Miles to talk to Danielle and fix their broken family. But who is lurking in the shadows, listening to every word? Carl, of course. He spots another weakness to exploit. It's like watching 2 sharks circling each other in the shallow end. Spoiler 5. Todd's great escape kit is doing his best to promise Todd protection, but Todd is entirely spooked. He decides the only sensible option is to pack his bags and head to Thailand to stay with Eileen and Jason for a bit. You can hardly blame him. But the creep factor gets dialed right up to 10 when we see Theo watching Todd through the bedroom window in the dead of night. Later in the week, Todd goes back to grab his things. The big question is, will he actually make it to the airport, or is Theo going to intercept him? Spoiler 6, a bittersweet goodbye. Taking a breath from the threats, we have some real heartbreak for Carla and Lisa. The social worker rings with an update, and it's the news they've been dreading. It's time for Connie to go back to her grandmother. Watching them break the news to Betsy and pack up Connie's little belongings is going to be tear-jerking. They've built such a lovely bond, and having her taken away right before the wedding is incredibly tough timing. Spoiler 7, classic Carla vows. Speaking of the wedding, Lisa is taking it very seriously, having a private rehearsal of her vows with Betsy. The words are so beautiful that Betsy actually ends up in tears. Then we have Carla. In true, chaotic Carla Connor fashion, she admits to Betsy that she hasn't even started writing hers yet. She's begging the poor teenager for last-minute help. It's a brilliant bit of light relief, showing that underneath the hard businesswoman exterior, Carla is just a nervous wreck about marrying the woman she loves. Spoiler 8, Sally's suspicions. Carla arrives at the Rovers for her hen do, and the factory lot have thrown an underworld-themed party, which is a brilliant touch. Lisa is supposed to be having her own bash, but nosy Sally Webster spots her in the corner shop, looking at microwave meals for one. Now, is Lisa getting cold feet? Or is she just sneaking a quiet moment away from the chaos? Knowing soap weddings, this tiny detail has me proper worried. Spoiler 9, the wedding curse strikes, and the worry is justified because the Swarla wedding is suddenly thrown into absolute chaos. Debbie has to ring them up and postpone because the hotel's function room has completely flooded. Ryan is the unfortunate messenger who has to break the news. It looks like it's all off. But Ryan, bless him, points out the obvious to Lisa. Carla doesn't care about a fancy hotel. She'd marry Lisa in a bin alley if she had to. Spoiler 10. The factory fairy tale. Lisa takes that advice to heart and completely saves the day. She tricks Carla into thinking they're just going for a free apology lunch at the hotel. But when Carla arrives, there's a beautiful wedding arch set up in a quiet corner with Betsy, Roy, and Ryan waiting. They actually tie the knot. And if that wasn't sweet enough, Carla gets called out to a fake alarm at the factory, only to walk into her own surprise reception. Honestly, it sounds like absolute magic. Spoiler 11. Outrage on the Cobbles. But the happiness doesn't last long elsewhere. Kit has to deliver infuriating news to the Driscolls. The CPS are dropping the case against Megan due to a lack of evidence. Will practically runs to tell Megan, who smugly reveals she's already booked them tickets to Paris and hands him a guidebook. The sheer arrogance of her. It makes your blood boil, and you can only imagine how helpless Will's family is going to feel. Spoiler 12. A family fractured. The stress completely splinters the Driscoll family. Ollie turns on Ben, blaming him for not protecting Will from Megan in the first place. The tension is awful. Maggie, desperate and terrified Ben might do something violent, comes up with a wild plan. She suggests Eva should pay Megan a visit and physically force a confession out of her. It's incredibly reckless, and if Ben finds out they are going behind his back, he's going to hit the roof. Spoiler 13. The trap is sprung. Eva doesn't back down, though. She finds Will's burner phone and uses a brilliant idea from Leanne, impersonating Will to text Megan and set up a meeting. When Megan arrives, she isn't met by a vulnerable schoolboy, but by Eva, Leanne, and Toya. You do not mess with the Battersby sisters. The confrontation turns ugly, and they leave Megan in a battered heap on the pavement. But Eva's got a backup plan. She secretly slips a tracker into Megan's bag. Spoiler 14. Melanie makes her mark. Just to add to Maggie's nightmare, Will's mum, Melanie, arrives at the bistro. Ollie apparently called her down. Melanie immediately points the finger at Maggie, accusing her of failing Will when he needed her most. The guilt-tripping is intense, and when Melanie marches over to the Rovers, you just know the screaming matches are going to continue. Spoiler 15. A hollow victory. Later in the week, Eva reveals to Leanne and Toya that her aggressive tactics did technically work. Megan actually confessed to sleeping with Will. But there's a massive catch. Eva has zero proof, no recording, no witnesses. Megan knows she holds all the cards. It's so frustrating. They know the truth, but they are completely powerless to take it to the police. What on earth is Eva going to try next? Spoiler 16. Carl's downfall. Meanwhile, the tension around Carl snaps. Debbie gets a shocking phone call. Carl has been rushed to the hospital. Abby is the one who breaks the news to Summer, who is left absolutely terrified by the update. Who put him there? Was it a furious Gary? Did Theo finally snap? Or did Carl just push his luck with the wrong shady contact? Spoiler 17. Blackmail at the bistro. We quickly learn that even a hospital bed won't stop Carl's greed. He somehow manages to ruthlessly blackmail Debbie, demanding she sign over the hotel. The bloke even starts sacking staff, telling Ryan he's the new owner, but Debbie isn't one to roll over. She looks him dead in the eye and tells him he's never getting her business. Instead, she offers him a massive cash payoff on the condition he leaves Weatherfield forever. Will he be greedy enough to take the money and run? Spoiler 18. A ghost from Jodie's passed over with Jodie. The mystery thickens. She's wandering the street when she spots a completely innocent-looking flyer for a company called Hall North. Just reading the name visibly drains the color from her face. She is properly rattled. We've known for weeks she's hiding a massive secret, and this is our first real clue. What is her connection to that company? Spoiler 19. Time to run. The answer comes knocking when Olivia, a girl Jodie used to nanny, turns up unannounced. But it's not a friendly catch-up. Jodie catches the teenager trying to nick a hard drive that Jodie stole from Olivia's dad. The terrifying truth comes out. Olivia's dad is Jodie's violently abusive ex-boyfriend, and he wants her dead. Shona, the voice of reason, tells Jodie straight, if Olivia found you, her dad will too. She urges Jody to pack up and flee before the Platts end up in the crossfire. Spoiler 20, a funeral parlor facelift. We get a tiny sliver of light relief with George and Christina. George is determined to keep the parlor running, and Christina, full of bright ideas, suggests taking out a massive advert in the local paper to drum up trade. It's classic soap timing, really. Trying to advertise funeral services on the exact same week someone is about to be murdered. You couldn't make it up. Spoiler 21, the final breath, which brings us to the climax of the week. The wedding is winding down, the cobbles are dark, and then a blood-curdling scream rips through the night. The murder mystery has officially begun. It's either Carl, Jody, Maggie, Megan, or Theo lying dead on the street. One of these villains has taken their last breath, and the fallout is going to consume the show for months. Honestly, my head is spinning trying to work out who it is. I'm leaning towards Theo because he's made enemies of absolutely everyone. But Megan getting killed off right as she thinks she's escaped justice would be poetic in a twisted sort of way. What do you lot think? Get down into the comments and leave your best theories. Who is the victim? And more importantly, who is the killer? If you enjoyed tonight's breakdown, please do drop a like on the video. It makes a massive difference to the channel. And hit subscribe so you never miss our weekly chats. Have a brilliant rest of your week, stay safe, and I'll see you all back here very soon for more Cobbles drama.